Nextdoor is a private social network for the neighborhood. It's a piece of technology that allows you to easily connect and communicate with people in your neighborhood. So we know that there are lots of social networks out there. There's obviously Facebook to communicate with friends, LinkedIn to communicate with people that we work with, and Twitter to communicate and follow people that we're interested in. Nextdoor is very different. It's not about your friends, it's not about your colleagues, it's about your neighbors. And what's really interesting about your neighbors is they can help you solve problems, but there is no easy way for us to get to know them.
So local is very hard. Takes a lot of resources. You guys have raised $40 million. And it's difficult to get scale. You know, you have to get a critical mass in kind of each of these disparate neighborhoods. Why is Nextdoor different? You know, why are you going to be successful at this? And what is kind of the value that people get out of it?
Yeah, well, first of all, you're right. Local is very, very difficult to build. So if we look at the trajectory of successful internet companies like Yelp and OpenTable, both local companies, it's taken them many years. There unfortunately are no Instagrams where you can get to 100 million users in just a few years when you're talking about local. That's the challenge. The opportunity is when you build scale at a local level, it's extremely valuable. And it's something that from a competitive standpoint is very difficult to overturn. And we've seen that with Yelp and OpenTable and how it's very, very difficult for anyone to come into their markets.
There's more of a moat there.
There is much more of a competitive moat. And we believe that we're even different from Yelp and OpenTable because we are a social media platform. And so we grow not only through our local efforts, we grow through virality. So we have actually architected Nextdoor the same way that Facebook has been architected, LinkedIn has been architected, Twitter has been architected, where our main growth engine is a viral growth engine where neighbors invite neighbors. It's still slow and it's still difficult, but it can be energized by the fact that our growth is being driven by the fact that people use the service, they like the service, and then they tell their neighbors to join as a result. Now, long term, we believe that Nextdoor is really just a problem-solving machine. It's a way for you to get a great recommendation. It's a way for you to find a lost pet. It's a way for you to find out about suspicious activity in the neighborhood that will keep you safer. And so ultimately, the value proposition of helping you lead a more efficient local life, that's one that actually does compel you to invite your neighbors to join the service. And that's one of the reasons why we've been able to raise the $40 million in the last year, and that's one of the reasons why we feel that we can build a meaningful company.
So at the moment, you're going for scale. You haven't tried to monetize this at all. What revenue channels are you thinking about?
We're following in the footsteps of again, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, even Google and Yahoo in terms of trying to get the user experience and the adoption of the platform right before we move on to monetization. But we do have a pretty good idea of where there are some potential value capture mechanisms. So I'll talk about a couple of them. The first is the Yellow Pages market is a $100 billion market. And so if you have an opportunity to go after a $100 billion market,
so that's local
you can do the math, right? That's local advertising and the Yellow Pages. What's interesting about that market is that all of the traditional mechanisms that are used by local businesses, like local advertising, such as newspapers, radio, television, and the Yellow Pages, those are all on the decline. So where is that money going to flow? We believe that ultimately it's going to flow into websites, and it will flow into websites that make it very easy to connect with local people, and that's what Nextdoor is.
Anything else in terms of you know, creating a marketplace for buying and selling goods locally, or that kind of thing?
Well, ultimately Nextdoor is a platform that makes it easy for you to connect and communicate with the people around you, and once you can connect with the people around you, lots of interesting things happen. Things like commerce, so there can be classifieds, you know, person-to-person classifieds. If you're looking to have a garage sale, that's sort of the apocryphal example in your neighborhood. But if you're looking to sell a used car or buy a used pair of skis or even sell new items, there's no one better than your neighbors because you know who they are and it's convenient for you to actually deal with them. They have to walk over to your house versus drive across town, right? So there can be commerce applications. There can be recommendations applications. So we're talking about finding local service providers, whether they're dentists or architects or babysitters. Those are sort of commerce applications as well because you're looking for a recommendation for where you want to spend money. And so, yeah, there is a lot of commerce on the platform, but it sort of boils down to simply saying, if I could connect with my neighbors, how would I easily be able to solve my problems?